I really do die a little inside whenever I have to talk about Canada because it's never anything really good. If I'm talking about something specifically Albertan, oh, there's a pretty good chance it's going to be something good, at least for the time being. I think we have an election in May, but need to get, well, the getting's good when it's over there, so I might have to delve back into this because this is, oh, Lord have mercy, when we got to talk about Canada at large, it's a fairly dark topic, and given our future outlook when it comes to certain things, yeah, man, sky's still blue, but, you know, there's a pink line that runs through it, and then also a white one as well, because trannies run Canada there, I'll say it. Trans activist demands Trudeau Liberals open borders to trans-asylum seekers from the United States and UK. Why? Why do we have... What's the point? Why? Why is this Q-tip-headed weirdo going to be lobbying to give away my tax dollars? A trans-identified male activist in Ontario. So, yo, what even is that? Has launched a petition asking for the federal government to allow transgender and non-binary people from nations such as the UK and US. So, have them leave from first world countries that are statistically better off than Canadians? Interesting. Claim asylum due to safety concerns. Oh my god, my feelings about laws that prohibit experimental child sex changes and aim to protect women's sports and spaces. Yo, the petition has already garnered more than 26,000 signatures. Yeah, but we'll just have to take the validity of those in a couple of months' time, and I'd imagine probably 41% of those will drop off. Is the brainchild of Kate Glasson, a trans-identified male from Waterloo, Ontario. Ugh. Glasson, who transitioned as an adult more than 30 years ago, told CTV News that Canada would make a good country to offer asylum seekers gender identity, gender expression are protected characteristics in law. Yeah, that's another reason why I need to get out of this hellhole, because this type of indoctrination is 1000% encouraged and endorsed because we've got trannies over in Nanaimo. So right down there in the lower mainland in British Columbia. Well, if you just want to stop over in Vancouver and just overdose to your heart's content, you can also identify as the opposite gender. You can just go hop in whatever bathroom you want and then just go sneak a peek. Trans-identified male allegedly peeks under young girl stall and changing room in British Columbia. No, it doesn't happen. Oh, you're just being transphobic if you don't want to have, single gendered bathrooms. No, man, it's not like they're predators or anything like that. We wouldn't land up there now, would we? You're just arguing for that slippery slope, and nobody thinks that there's any validity in those claims. Degenerates. Mother in British Columbia has spoken out about the disturbing incident allegedly involving a trans-identified male. Yeah, all this stuff. Just a flumpy dude who may or may not have cut off his own dingus. Jayana Wright told Czech News that she was in the women's change room with her 9-year-old daughter when she saw a man wearing a wig and a face mask. Just a lot of good mental health practices on display right here. She said, face mask acting suspiciously. She said the individual had no bag. Oh, probably did. Oh, no, not that one. A towel or swimsuit. And was looking around in the showers. Great. Fantastic. Some dude with my shoulders just wandering around out there. Excuse me. Which way to the woman's change room? I just need to put on my one piece. The person that went into the stall next to the one her daughter was in. Yo, I would be... it's sad that we got to live in a situation like this, but this is Canada, right? We just need to be very tolerant of every situation. I want to die. I could see their feet moving, and you could see the bottom of the stall, and I saw a wig peer down, and they were trying to peek underneath the stall. Yo. When the individual came out of this room, still fully clothed, I then approached them. Yo, you tried to frame up this dude. He told me it was in their human rights to be in the change room and that they weren't going to leave. Not leaving. There were a few words exchanged and I ushered them out the door. Wright reported this to the manager and was told that while the behavior was unacceptable, it was indeed a dude's rights to be in the female change room because Canada is a degenerate society. Now, if you just want the happy-go-lucky stories, if you just want those, you better tune off right now because this is a dark story and I don't even know, man. There is no way in hell that I can I don't even want to talk about this, but this is Canada in today's day and age. It's not that I don't want to talk about it. I want to put awareness of this type of sick, degenerative behavior right out there. It's just so depraved, and the fact that they're even taking up space inside of a prison that a good murderer or something like that can hold up. Why waste the time? Why waste the taxpayer dollars? Viewer discretion is advised, and not because I'm getting soft or anything like that. It's just, this is really sick and depraved. I couldn't concoct a more evil act than this. Biological male who raped a baby moved to a women's prison in Canada. Yep. Canadian trans man who identified the woman who is serving a rare indeterminate prison sentence for the... Oh, man, this hurts the soul. Who diddled a 3-month-old baby. Yep. This is Canada. You're adhering to the whims and the inbuilt narcissism of a baby fucker. That's what you're doing. He's currently being held in a woman's prison in British Columbia that has a mother and baby unit. Great. I want to die. This is horrific, man. At least we got one good thing right here. A story time with Dawn for a second. At least that Amy girl looks like a chick I used to know. I just don't think that she has the greatest set of tits ever. Anyways, a Canadian trans-identified man who's serving a rare indeterminate prison sentence. Okay, so they're going to be there for a long time for that charge that I don't want to repeat. Not because I'm, scared of being demonetized or anything like that. It's just, I really do have a heart when it comes to these situations, and this is just so foul and so wrong. And if you ever needed a reason to believe in God, just know that the opposite is true, and that hell on earth does occur in certain little epochs around the world, and this right here is one of those situations that really makes you think that something this awful can happen. There has to be some good guiding light that's out there. An individual who now goes by the name of Tara D'Souza was 15 years old at the time of the horrific crime. D'Souza's sexual assault of a 3-month-old baby was so brutal that the child had to be flown to from Quesnel to Vancouver to undergo reconstruction. I'm not gonna lie, this is a hard one. Holy shit. To undergo reconstructive surgery, reports Redux. According to new reports, D'Souza mutilated himself and ate his own flesh following the horrifying assault. During the trial in 1999, an expert witness testified that D'Souza displayed everything from transsexual to pedophilic tendencies. Yeah, we know, the 3-month-old kid, and... man. Ugh. Because D'Souza started identifying as a woman only after being convicted and sentenced. Court reporting from the time of the trial refers to a child rapist using male pronouns and the name Adam Alabu-Khan. Well, you're all walled up. You have plenty of time to think and come up with your own new moniker, of course. Somebody who ate their own flesh. You're listening to the whims of this person. This is where we're at, kids. You were being told that you were a bigot if you wanted to keep men in men's bathrooms and women in women's bathrooms. Now we're acquiescing to the requests of somebody who did the most depraved thing anybody could possibly come up with. That's what the Canadian government is listening to. Forensic psychiatrist testified to say that D'Souza had admitted to being a danger to the public. So now you get put into a place that has a mother and child care unit. Why is it? He said he was not planning a life of crime, but he felt he had no other way to control the flood of violent, murderous fantasies. That's nice. Dr. Ian Postnikoff told the BC Supreme Court. Postnikoff also told the court that D'Souza had caused self-inflicted wrist wounds by chewing himself, resulting in serious self-mutilation. Didn't go far enough. While in custody, he would turn himself against himself. What? But this is a high level of self-mutilation, also self-cannibalization. Yeah, man. You really think keeping this... fuck it, I'll just say it. Do you really think keeping this person alive is gonna... Is there any hope for an individual like this? Is there any hope of rehabilitation for this type of person? Or should we just put them out of their own misery? If they're trying to eat themselves in order to satisfy some mental deficiency that's going on out there, unless you're just trying to run some scientific tests that are out there, there is no way in hell that this person comes back to being any sort of functioning member of society. This is going to be a taxpayer burden until the end of time for an indeterminate amount of time. You've seen the description of the sentence that's there, an indeterminate amount of time. That's how long they're going to be in custody. Eating through their wrists, hoping for what exactly? The history and severity of offenses of Mr. Laboucan. It's difficult to say how long this treatment would last, probably for the rest of their life. As not regular sex offender, I would say that it'd be a very long time, possibly years, decades, generations, bro. Like, this is... Oh, man, it sucks to suck for the parents, but your bloodline ends right here, okay? This is, yeah. It's going to be very concerned to hear that Laboucan, I'm not using her fake name, would be released into the community in the near future. While Laboucan was not released into the community, it was deemed appropriate that the flesh-eating pedophile, I can't believe that that's an accurate description, be granted transfer to a woman's prison. Why are you listening to this person? This is a peak clown world. Peak clown world. After the individual announced a female gender identity. Woke prisons. That's where we're at in Canada. Woke prisons. The horrific sexual assault of the baby is not D'Souza's only crime. You don't say. According to a 1999 CBC News report, clinical psychologist Dr. Steve Sigmund testified in court that when examining D'Souza in 1997, the teen had confessed to drowning a 3-year-old boy in Quesnel in 1993. D'Souza was just 11 at the time, so no charges were laid because the law requires the accused to be at least 12 years old. Killed a kid. Oh, what's the worst that could happen afterwards? Oh. Redux reports that the child's mother, Dolores Deutsch, told the court she wanted her child's murderer to remain behind bars for life. Yeah. Wouldn't you think that they would put an earmark on that charge? It's like, yeah, you're 11, but you're going to turn 12. Things are probably going to be pretty bad going forward, so if there's anything bad that happens in the future, we might bring that up again. And here we are. Sigmund also testifies that Laboucan confessed to having sexual fantasies about children under the age. Just when you think it can't get any worse. And that he had a history of sexually aggressive behavior in 1999 at the age of 17. Laboucan was given a rare, indeterminate prison sentence reflecting on the brutal nature of the crime. Yeah, this made Laboucan Canada's youngest criminally violent sex offender. Yet that didn't preclude the kid diddler from being transferred to Fraser Valley Institute for Women in Abbotsford. Does not know when exactly Laboucan started to undergo a medical sex change, but Redux reports... that a convict dating profile in 2018 shows the baby diddler boasting of having a vagina and breast implants. Great. I'm a transgender woman and I was born a man, but now after surgery I became a full woman. Redux discovered that D'Souza's Canadian Inmates Connect profile, that's the thing, huh? Your tax dollars at work. I have a vagina, not a penis. I also have 720cc double D gel implants. You get all of that, huh? You get all of that treatment just to feel special, you fucking kid rapist. Parole Board of Canada has repeatedly refused Laboucan's request for release, indicating that the transgender pedophile remains a high risk to the public. Yep. 2010, CTV reported using male pronouns despite acknowledging the inmate's transgender identity. Said that the parole board panel has refused Laboucan's release, saying a complex set of risk factors regulated to his gender identity, impulsive behavior, violence, and sexual deviance puts him at a high risk to reoffend. Wow, based CTV back in 2010. It's been a minute. According to Redux, by 2010, there have been 7 parole hearings, and the child sex offender's gender identity has been mentioned at every single one. The next opportunity for appeal will be next year. That's when they'll be released. I will goddamn guarantee it. Mark me down for that one. Maybe that's why Trudeau was pushing so hard to make sure that all the guns were snatched up by the end of the year. I'm just saying, man. Trying to connect the dots on this one. Heather Mason, a former federal inmate who is now an advocate for single-sex prisons. I can't believe that has to be a position anybody has to take. Wow, men should be in men's prison and women should be in women's prison, and everybody that's inside should be burnt to the ground. Submitted a brief of the 2021 Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Security, which said that Laboucan and fellow trans-identified pedophile Madeleine Harks would loiter near the mother and a child making sexist and inappropriate antagonizing comments. Oh, great. Harks is a serial pedophile who's been described as having an all-encompassing preoccupation in sexually abusing young girls. You know, you could do it with one shot if you line them both up ear to ear. What am I talking about? Don't know. Mason has a network of contacts within the women's prison system and shared with Redux exchanges as she had with women in the Fraser Valley. One woman told Mason that Laboucan had been staring at the children to antagonize the women. The anonymous woman told the disturbing encounter with Laboucan at a volunteer appreciation event that she took her infant son to. The guard... Why would you be taking your kids to jail? Your infants to jail anyways. The guard had warned her of Laboucan's presence and informed her the nature of Laboucan's crime. I was told that there was an extremely violent child sex offender present who hadn't been in the presence of a young child in a very, very long time. Once I was informed of the sick, brutal nature of the crime against my child, I regretted ever going or letting that person set eyes on my child. Yeah, what would be the impetus of going to something like this, you idiot? Incarcerated women are disproportionately likely to have been victims of male sexual violence. Yeah, of course. Because what's the comparison? What's the bellwether of that? Showed that 82% of gender diverse inmates currently incarcerated are trans-identified males serving sentences for sex offenses. Yeah, of course, man, because they get lighter sentences, they have better accommodations, and especially, you know, violent criminals going to jail. If you have an opportunity to be surrounded by women, yeah, you're going to do any depraved thing that you possibly can in order to commit more crimes going into the future, because if you're not going to be held accountable by the legal system, go to your heart's content. Male criminals who self-identify as women has been permitted to transfer to women's prisons in Canada since Bill C-16 was passed in 2017. I told you we would get this far. Nobody wanted to listen to me. Which added gender identity and gender expression as protected characteristics to the criminal code. Jordan Peterson tried to warn you, and now, well, you got Peters in women's prison. See, we could end on at least a joke. I want to die. This story just took every will to live right out of me. But that's all right, man. We got more stories. We got something else to talk about to try to wipe your mind of this absolute evil that still very much persists in the world, specifically in Canada. Oh, those nice Canadians. Oh, don't you know, they're just all about the diversity, huh? And they just love the hockey. Some people, they like to play with their sticks. Others like to play with their sticks around preschools. Yuck. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.